Crypto Pirates, welcome to your Discourse Syndicates chatting with the Captain. I am the Captain, RG3, coming to you live, bringing you guests, bringing you Hexicans, bringing you the whole, what do they call it in the old days, the boomer days, kit and caboodle. Play with that one, guys. So welcome to everybody. Our guest has not arrived yet, so I am patiently awaiting his arrival. We have a special senatorial. He ran for the Senate. How do you say that? How would you say that? Anyway, he was a candidate for the Senate. He was, went to college at like 11 years old. I mean, guys, freaking phenomenal. And he's a crypto advocate. So it's going to be interesting to talk to him. So we'll see when he gets here. Let me say hello to the chat room while we're waiting. T-Bird, Wingman, what's happening, brother? Monica Mofit, my homie. Crypto Journeyman, welcome. Dougie, Doorsy78, the troll slash admin slash Hexagon. Full Send Hexian, howdy, how you doing, buddy? Hexander, thank you. Sand Pip Chowdhury, Alan Sandra Larson, T Rob, the producer T Rob, and Crypto King. By the way, you can thank both of them gentlemen for the production in the show lately. They are both working very, very hard behind the scenes to make things happen. Jay Everything, Torin, Hex Down Under, Crypto King, he also is here. Again, making things happen here. The producers, Susie Q and Thomas Turner. Hey. So our guest has arrived. I haven't had a chance to really talk to him yet, but we're gonna just bring him up and start hammering at it, because it's funny that he and I have we've been in the same places. I don't know if it was the same time, but he and I both have a lot to chat about, because we both I seen it. I was reading his bio. I was doing some research on him and found, man, this guy's been like everywhere I'm at. So this is going to be a cool conversation. Can't wait. So I'm gonna bring him up right now. Everybody, the young Dr. Jamar, the crypto politician. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm blessed. How are you, dude?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I was telling everybody you and I have a lot in common. I see you started out in California somewhere. You were born and raised out here, or what?
Yeah. People ask me where I'm from, and I usually say everywhere, just because of where I was originally raised was in California, but I spent my summers in Texas. I spent the last 8 years in Louisiana, and I did a lot of disruptive work in DC. So people ask me, it's like I have roots.
We're going to have to get into that disruptive work. I like that word. So that tells me you've been doing some cool stuff in DC then.
Yeah, man.
Let me go back. So whereabouts in California you come from?
Southern California. So the Inland Empire, San Bernardino area.
Okay. So that's where I'm at now. But I grew up in Inglewood.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, shoot, man. I'll be back in California in a couple of days. We got to link up.
Yeah. We'll hook up. So I grew up in Inglewood and Norwalk, kind of in the ghetto areas there. But then as I moved my family out here to the Inland Empire about 18 years back, I've been out here. So that's where I'm at now. Well, right on. So what's interesting is to me, when I was reading your bio, was that at 11 years old, you went into college?
Yes.
Is that true?
I've been taking college classes since I was 11 years old. Yes.
Wow. Now, you say taking college classes. Is that you were at home under the guidance of your parents, or were you at a university at 11?
I was at Rio Hondo Community College. At 11 years old, my parents would drop me off at the school. They would either be waiting out in the car for me. But yeah, started taking off college math and college English courses.
That's crazy, because I went to the fire academy there at Rio Hondo.
Oh wow, man, those steep hills, man. Those steep hills.
We had to run up and down those things, man. It was insane, man. That
brutal.
It was insane. I had gotten out of the Marine Corps though, so then I went into the fire academy. And that Rio Hondo is where I went to the fire academy. See, man, there's even more connections here.
Thank you for your really thank you for your service. You know what I'm saying? As as someone in the Marine Corps, and also thank you for your service as a firefighter, man, because you got to be a crazy, crazy, crazy person in order to go in there and mess with the fires.
So I graduated top of my class in the academy, but I never got a job because that was in the early, early to mid 90s.
Okay.
And back then it was like you'd go to apply for a job and they'd have like 5 openings and 10,000 people waiting in line overnight in their motorhomes and stuff from all around the country to try and get a job as a California firefighter. So it was extremely hard to get a job at that time.
Yeah.
So I ended up in Hollywood and doing all kinds of other crazy shit. But that was my story. But so you're going to, what was it like being an 11-year-old going to a college like it? Because I mean, let's face it, Rio Hondo is not like that area right there. That is a pretty rough area where Rio Hondo is, and you're 11 years old and now you're in college. So what's going on with you then?
It was actually a great experience, and I don't think I was old enough to really like appreciate all that was going on. It was like, all right, I'm here. This is cool. Everybody around me is older than me, but I'm not worried about that. I'm trying to make good grades because I don't want to hear no mess from my parents. I don't know if you ever. I have fond memories of being at Rio Hondo. I don't know if you ever sat back and picked blueberries, not blueberries, but blackberries from the blackberry bushes that were all around.
No, man. No, they were sweating my ass off over there in the academy. I didn't get a chance to sit back and do anything.
Yeah, man. I have very, very fond memories of being at Rio Hondo. So it was a very interesting experience. Just, you know, it was kind of an anomaly for others that were in the class. They're like, what the hell is this little kid doing in this class? And I was just like, look, I'm just trying to learn. You know, not only was I in college, but I was also in regular school. So I was taking classes during the summer, and then I was also taking college classes during the regular school year. So my school got out, I think 3 o'clock or two, maybe like 2 or 3 o'clock, and then, or maybe even 4 o'clock. I'm trying to remember. And then by 6 o'clock, I was headed to class. I was going to class. So I lived in Fontana, and we would get on the freeway and head to Rio Hondo. And I had class from basically from 6 to 9. Yep.
Wow. That's crazy. That's
crazy.
Man. Hex Down Under. So you got my community. So back in the days where RG3 and the boys were passing buckets of water to each other because the motor vehicle wasn't invented yet. You get a timeout. You get a timeout, young man. That's what I got to deal with around here. That's my own community coming at me sideways, always talking trash about the old man here. But, anyway, well, hey, so what brain work got you into college at 11 years old? Was it your math skills? Was it just that you were brilliant all over, or what was it that got you into college at 11?
You know, that my parents were looking for something to do with me, because it was like any challenge that they gave me, like I ate it up. And so they were like, all right, well, we got something for you. We got something for you. And I met that challenge. It was really just kind of trying to figure out, what are you going to do with this smart little 11-year-old that we have? And how do we challenge him and get him with the skills and with the education that's going to give him what he needs? And so being a parent now myself, like I can really appreciate that. You know, I can really appreciate what my parents did for me, because, you know, when you got smart kids, man, it's like, what the hell are you going to do with them? How do you keep them engaged?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or else the world's going to engage them, right?
Exactly.
If you don't help to direct that at that point, the world's going to. That's kind of the situation. I've got a son like you. You know, he's just been brilliant his whole life, and it's hard to keep a handle on that, because they go beyond your mental capacity at first. You know, it's like, okay, so he knows more than I do. He can do math better. He can spell better. He can read better. He's academically more sound than I ever will be. And then all of a sudden, you know, the world is getting a hold of him. And it's like, okay, well, you just got to kind of get in there and try and direct him, you know, and try and help out. It's a tough situation, man. It really is.
It is.
So kudos to your parents, man. Good thing that they got you on the right track. So after you get out of college, so now you finished going through regular school, right? Is that what you did? You were just taking college classes at 11, or did you get out of school and go early?
I did both. So what happened is from 11 to 14, I was doing regular school and taking college classes. And then at 14, I started college full time at Cal State LA. So I'm a Golden Eagle. I started there when I was 14, and then I graduated when I was 19 with my bachelor's in mechanical engineering.
Ah, mechanical engineering.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
so
man.
That leads me to my next question, because this is where you and I might have crossed paths. So then you start working for the Navy, right?
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Did you work for the Navy as a civilian, or did you actually go Navy?
No, I worked for the Navy as a civilian. So I had and you might be a little familiar with this. So I was DOD. So I had a military boss and I had a civilian boss.
Yep. Now, that was back east, right?
No, that was here in California. That was there in California.
Are you at Seal Beach?
No, I was at Port Hueneme.
Oh, Port Hueneme.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was at Naval Weapons Station stationed back east at Yorktown, Virginia.
Okay.
So I worked with folks just like you in the DoD, because I was security systems for all the DoD stuff that was going on in Virginia at the time.
Outstanding.
Yeah. But that was you weren't even born yet. But that was when Reagan and Gorbachev had the scale down.
Oh.
And they were scaling down the nuclear capabilities of each country, and mothballing a lot of the nuclear ready stuff were being mothballed into magazines and storage facilities, like at Seal Beach, what we have over at Seal Beach.
Yep. I've spent some time at Seal Beach, so I know exactly what's over there.
Yeah.
I've spent some time at Seal Beach. Yeah, I had
Right on. Yeah. So again, another cross path you and I had. So probably neither one of us are able to really talk in detail about what we did in those positions, is my guess, right? I mean,
I had to go and look at like some of it was crazy when I first left the Navy. I had to look at like some of the declassification of some of the, was the declassification periods of some of the things that I did before I was even able to talk about it. So I'll say this. I'm allowed to say that I was a Mark 41 vertical launching systems technician.
Okay. Nice.
So basically the system that you see shooting missiles off the back of the ships, that was my system.
And I stood guard when they loaded those munitions into those ships.
Yep.
That's what I did.
Yep.
Off of the James River when they were down there doing all the munitions loading there. So that's cool. That's cool. So so after you get done with your DoD job and you've worked for the Navy, then you did you go to law school? Is that what it was?
Yes, I went to law school.
Okay, so you went to law school. Man, that is a tough deal. Now, I worked at a law school for a little bit. I didn't do anything academically there, of course, but I worked for one for just like a middle job. But I knew that man, that passing that bar and the work you guys do is some freaking grueling ass shit, man. How was that, man? Because you're a young man doing this, right? I mean, how old were you when you went to the
23, 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went and got your law degree then.
Yeah. It's like I worked for 5 years as a weapons systems engineer for the U.S. Navy. Like, I had been sent on very sensitive missions. Like, there's a particular mission that I'm very, very proud of, because the whole world was worried about this particular event, and I was involved in helping to prepare us for it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very proud of the time that I spent there. And so to do that at 24, to be in charge of a major mission like that at 23, 24 years old, and then to go to law school right after, coming from that environment, it was a great experience, because it was a great experience and kind of a culture shock, because in with the military, nobody cares about how you feel. There is
No, you don't have no feelings.
you don't have no feelings, right?
There's
There
no care for
isn't
feels.
there isn't any nuance to whether or not something got done or something didn't get done.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
either it got done or it didn't get done. There's no political answer. You give me a straight answer, that's it. Right. When the old man calls you up to figure out what the hell's going on with his ship, he doesn't want to hear an entire argument. He wants to know, give me the facts. So making that adjustment from military communication and military bearing to now being, it was kind of a transition going back into the civilian world was
it's
a
always
little
hard.
Yeah, man, it was rough. And I was a civilian, but you know, when you
live in that culture, you know, it's there's no feelings, there is no gray area. It's yes or no, right or wrong, done or done, not done. I mean, it's just, you know, it's a very different world out here, that everything's kind of wishy-washy and gray areas, and it could be or couldn't be, and in the military
depends.
it's different.
Yep.
You know. Yeah. So right on. So you transition out. You were probably running around in the bars telling girls that you were a rocket slinger scientist, right? Is that what you were, a rocket slinger scientist?
You know what was funny? What was funny was a lot of people were intimidated by me in school, in law school, and it's like people were worried about the professor making them look stupid, and I'm like, what? Like, make you look stupid? Like, I have to answer to a captain of $1 billion warship. Like, a professor making me look stupid? You know, if
yeah.
what? Like, what? You
know
what I mean?
Once
like,
you've been there, once you've been in the, that's why military people come with such respect, is because of, you know, the situations that you were put in as young people, you know, and
exactly.
You know, you're held to a high account of your person and what you do and how you conduct yourself. And then being involved in big projects like you and I have both been involved in,
Yes.
You know, make you like, shit, man, I did something for the whole country, man. What are you talking about? Like, at a critical time in history, you know, everything else is water off a duck's back. You can yell at me and say stupid shit all that you want to me all day long. It's not going to affect me. I mean, like, people worry about the Twitter spaces. It's like, really? You worry about some idiot saying something about you who doesn't know who the heck you are, where you've been, what you've done, or where you're going? Sorry, guys. Just blow that stuff off, man. That doesn't really matter.
Yeah, man.
So to have that experience, that's cool, man. That's cool. Well, I'm glad that we're getting closer to finding out who you are and what you're doing here, because I can't wait to get into the crypto stuff. Because so now you go to law school, you're working for some cool people. Now, just to let you know, this other connection that we have is I have a tribal affiliation in Louisiana, out there in the Shreveport area. And it's in Roboline, actually, about an hour southeast of Shreveport. Roboline is where my tribe's from. The Adeus clan of the Caddo Confederacy is who my family's tribe is. And so that area you work in, and I think some of the work that you've done kind of probably crosses over some of the stuff we've been doing.
Yep. Ratchet City, man. Ratchet City.
Okay.
Or some would call it Port City. You know, excuse me, Pote City.
Pote.
Pote City. My grandfather. So I went to school in Baton Rouge. I went to Southern University Law Center in Baton Rouge, but my grandfather lived in Shreveport. So every month, I would go up and come visit him in Shreveport, and then and during the summers, that's what I spent my summers with him, working in his business. And then when I graduated school, I ended up living in Shreveport. I had already bought a house in Shreveport and was living in Shreveport. So that's where I was a public defender. I was in Shreveport. That's where a lot of my advocacy work in Louisiana was done. Was in Shreveport. So yeah.
Cool beans, man. Yeah. I go back there every year we have a powwow in October that we go to and you know, celebrate with the family down there. There's not too many of us. There's only a handful of us Caddos left out there.
Yeah.
But I do support it every year and whatnot. So I love that area. I love it. It's like home. I don't know, the red dirt, you know, love that red dirt.
Yeah.
So you get in law school, and of course the natural thing to do after you're in law school and you're doing public defending work is to become a politician, right? So you decide you're going to go be a politician. Now, what made you think that? What did you get into first? And then we'll run that all the way up into your Senate race attempt.
Well, man, while I had passed the bar. But was having issues with the bar association with finally giving me my bar license. And it was because of some financial issues that I had ran into while I was in law school, and making the decision to go to law school. So it's like, you're going to prevent me from having the one thing that's going to really help me get myself on my feet and where I need to be. So you're going to deny me of the license. But okay, whatever. Right. So I fought for a year and a half, almost 2 years for my license. During that time, looking for work. And I didn't, you might be able to attest to this in Shreveport, is that's a very cliquish city. And particularly Louisiana is really based upon who you know. It has nothing to do about your competencies, what your skills that you bring. It really comes down to who you know, and this, whose people are you?
Whose people are you? Yep. That's it.
Whose
they
people
want to know
are you?
who your social circle influences are. And
exactly.
Yeah, no, I get it. All the way from construction work all the way into politics out there. I mean, it's
exactly.
It's a lot like that.
Exactly. And, like I said, my grandfather was in Shreveport. But for all intents and purposes, I was coming from California, not understanding.
Yeah, exactly. Because when I first started going out there as a young man visiting, I was like, I mean, when you go and you meet Creole people and you start seeing the party scene down there and having fun, it's like, oh man, this is paradise down here, and then you start seeing, like you said, the who's your people thing. And in an Indian community, it's even more condensed, because then you've got intertribal kind of family mixings and stuff. And so, yeah, man, it's very much like that. It's very Southern. It's very Louisiana. It's very Bayou, down in that area. It's like there's some people that they don't even want you to know who those people are if you're part of those people.
Exactly.
So now, how do you get into politics from there, though?
I was teaching. Man, I was blessed to get a position with Southern University Shreveport, and I was teaching political science.
Okay.
And the weird part about it was the professor who was teaching it was like the most senior professor who had been teaching the class, and she got sick, and so in the middle of the semester, like literally 2 weeks before midterms, she was like, I can't do this. And they called me up, hey, are you interested? And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm interested, right? But I was like, I don't have a syllabus, right? Mm-hmm. I'd have to be taking over whatever syllabus that she has. And I was like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work, right? I was able to draw on my experience of working for the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, right? Some people call it the NAACP. I did a lot of advocacy and discrimination work with the NAACP while I was working as an engineer. So being able to help people get their jobs back, people when they've been discriminated because of their age, sex, race, gender, you know what I'm saying? Like being able to help people with that, and then being able to transfer those skills. So being in law school, having to solve legal problems of my own, right, and legal problems of my family, that left me with a real intense skill set. Because I tell people, it's like, when I got to law school, they were, not only military, I had already gotten into some legal trouble of my own. And it's like, when you've had to defend your own ass in court and you're successful, right? That leaves you with a whole nother set of confidence. And you recognize like, oh, I see what this is. I see how the law works. So now being in a position to now teach political science, I taught my class like a seminar of, this is how you use the government to solve your problems. When you have a disagreement with your landlord, these are the steps that you need to take whenever you have an issue with your landlord. No, don't just stop paying the rent. You need to file a law. If you're going to not pay the rent, You need to file a lawsuit and still pay your rent, but you're paying the rent into an account that the court controls. So once you get everything all figured out, it doesn't look like you stop paying your rent. It just says, I'm not going to pay my rent to you until you fix up whatever these issues. If you had a problem with your street, right? These are the people in your government that you need to start raising hell with in order to get these things to change. If you're having issues with your children at school, and they're not getting the resources that they need, this is who you need to raise hell with. You need to raise hell with the school board. You need to raise hell with, and here's a little letter template that you can use in order to do that. It doesn't have to be fancy.
Because we're a nation of laws, not a nation of ideals, right?
Exactly.
So I like this because you understand how to make things go round and round. A lot of the people in this space, a lot of people today, a lot of people in the social media seem to think that the government is some entity that's the boogeyman, that's coming to get them, that's coming to take their this, their that, or their others. And I've never seen it as that way. I've seen it as a tool. The government is a tool. And at times that tool can be broken or have bad people in it. And at that point, that's for us to either fix it or operate properly within it. And that's what it seems that you've been doing, is helping the people function within the government system versus saying, the government don't work, government ain't worth the damn, blah, 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 blah. You figured out how to operate from within it.
You know, it's very interesting. It's you have to understand how your government works in order to, because you have to understand how your government works. That's point blank, period. The only rights you have are the ones that you exercise, and you can never exercise rights that you don't know about. So if something happens to you and it may be wrong, yes, you may have been done wrong, but what is your legal recourse? What is your redress? How do you solve that utilizing the current systems that are in place? And a lot of times that it works, but sometimes when it doesn't work, it's very painful. It's very painful when the government breaks their own laws, when they don't follow their own procedures and their own things.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the point. You know, you will experience that, and you now have to just start playing a different level of chess. You now have to start playing 3 and 4D chess versus just a 2D chess. But for many of our problems that we have right now, a lot of it can be solved with us understanding how our government works and creating problems for people that make problems for us.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So, well, that could turn into, you know, I am going to put this one question up. Somebody said, well, it's not even a question, it's a statement. Rights don't come from the government. Well, they do and they don't. I mean, when you think about it, this is a nation of laws. We are a nation of laws, and you can say whatever rights you may want to say that you have, but you do have the rights of this country and the laws within it. That's your rights. Believe it or not, they do come from our government that we've created over the years, a set of laws that we all have to adhere to. Am I correct?
I'm going to say this. Your rights do not come from the government. Your rights do not come from the government. You are the government.
You are the government. Exactly.
Therefore, your rights originate from within yourself and whatever agreements that you've made with others that you're going to abide by.
Yeah. And the problem that I see with what people's frustration is, and that question or that statement is true only because our ability to make change has been thwarted by a little thing I call Citizens United. So Citizens United has made it to where money has more power than our voices and our votes. And I think that's where the problem lies, is that we don't have representational control over our government anymore because the moneyed interest has made the laws favorable to them versus the people.
Yeah, your money is freer than you are.
Exactly. Your money is freer than
your money is freer than you are.
How profound is that, right?
Your
That's the
money,
first time I've heard that, but it's true.
your
It's
money is freer
absolutely.
than you are. Let you try to go somewhere without a passport, but your money can.
It can now, that's for sure, because of crypto.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's one of those points of contention. And yes, you're right. When the government decides they want to violate your rights, what's going to back them up?
What's you know what I mean? So all right. So let's before that turns into a big old rabbit hole for us to go crawl down into, let's talk about how you got into crypto. Why crypto? Why are you calling yourself the crypto politician? Let's dig into that a little bit.
All right. Well, that's like 2-3 questions all in one, man. So which one you want to start with?
Well, let's first start out about how you were introduced to crypto, how it came across your plate, and
2012, 2013. Instead of looking up some technical documents, I was on Gizmodo.com, and this thing about Bitcoin showed up, and this thing about the pirate. What was it? The Pirate Bay? Not the Pirate Bay was a
yeah, Pirate Bay is just a peer-to-peer site,
right? But I remember, like, I can literally see what was on the page at that time. It was like Pirate Bay, and then whatever darknet site it was.
That was you're talking about Ross Ulbricht's thing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, Bitcoin. I was like, man, what the hell is this? Like, they're utilizing digital money. Well, at the time, I had a clearance. So I was curious about it, but I didn't want to do anything that was going to necessarily, jeopardize my clearance. So I didn't really look into it, but I kept my eye on it. And then finally in 2016, I came across Ethereum. And I came across some other cryptos, and I was like, hey, there's something to this. Like,
and when you say something to this, are you talking about mad gains and money? Or are you talking about the technology that you were seeing being developed?
I was talking about the technology, like understanding this is a distributed computer. I'm able to create distributed applications, meaning that I don't have to have it running on my phone. I can have it running on the internet. I can I can transfer money and also be able to program my money at the same time. Oh man. Because I had kept my ear to it, but I hadn't paid it much attention. And then finally in 2016, I was like, yep, I dove all the way in. And I saw it as a way of freedom, man. Saw it as a way of freedom. Having spent my life as an activist and as an advocate, and realizing that what could happen to you, when you start really seeing all that life has to offer you, you see how the government can restrict those things. You do not have a right to leave the country. You have a right to travel within it, but you don't have a right to leave. It's a privilege in order to leave this country. Once again, your capital is freer than you are.
It's crazy.
So for somebody like myself that is always pushing hard lines and finds myself very critical of government, what happens when you're in a position and the government wants to do something to you? And the way that they will do something to you first is financially, is the one way that they can commit violence against you without it ever looking violent at all. They will rob your kids of the best education going after you. They will take food out of your children's mouth.
They'll take their faith. They'll take everything. That's what happened to Indian people. We know that very, very well. So we understand that process. And here it is. It's happening again, but to the people of this country. Like you said, they're taking away those freedoms, and it's more violent by messing with your money.
Exactly.
So I too, saw it and was getting in. I mean, I got in about 2014. I had a video game company. So I saw what was happening in 2010 and 9 with crypto and how it was coming out. Didn't pay much attention to it till about 14. And then about 16, me too. I was both feet dove in, you know. I was creeping, crawling in the back alleys because my appetite for the tech had turned into an appetite for the dollar, because it started, you know, moving. And it was like, oh, wow, I see a way out of my situations, you know, all the entrepreneurial endeavors that I had on the side. I thought, this thing here can blow the lid off of everything that I've ever been doing, you know, because I was just a working stiff. I move equipment for my life, you know, as a heavy machinery mover. And so I was like, okay, this crypto thing can be it. And then in 2016, when we saw the run to 2017, we were all in, you know. It was like, okay, here we go. This thing is really doing what we thought it was going to do. And then we saw the crash.
Exactly. I started a company in 2017 and we folded it in 2018. And I just had a lot on my plate. And during that time, I had some great gains. But it was, you know, during that time, my dad was in the financial services industry, and listening to him, you know, listen to my dad of, oh, well, what happened, blah, 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 this, that, third. So I got caught up in the FUD, you know, at that time. And I look back on that period and I said, you damn fool, you should have told your dad, hey, I hear what you're saying, but you haven't done as much research as me. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what happens that's how influential some of the people in your life are, that it's like, you know what, this is the wisdom that they have, but it's like, nah, I can take your wisdom, but I've done a lot more research on this. I've done a lot more research on this.
Yeah.
So, you know, I dibbled and dabbled at it in 2018 and 2019. But I was like, you know, in 2020 during my election, during the election, I was like, yep, this is where it's at. This is where it's at. Crypto, law, and politics. That's where I'm at with it. Crypto, law, and politics.
So you well, we all got in it because of what we think crypto can do, because of the research we've done, and because of our mindset. You know, like you said, we go, okay, the money is power. The money can be manipulation. The money can do things to us that are not favorable. So I saw crypto as a backdoor to the whole monetary system. It's like, okay, well, it looks like they've got a backdoor that we can go and change our fate. And now, you know, since I've cleared my mind of the 2017 bull run and what I was doing back then, and started to look at crypto in a different light, only because of the project that I've been involved in for the last few years. I've looked at it completely differently, because a new ecosystem has been created. And it's about to blow wide open over the next year or two here, and that's Hex and Hex's ecosystem. What are you seeing out there, so that you and I can talk about this? Because it looks like we're of the same mindset. What have you seen out there that is exciting you in the crypto space? What is it, projects that you're looking at, and why?
Man, bear markets for builders.
Mm-hmm.
Bear markets are for builders.
Here we are.
some of the projects that have, I mean, DAOs have been interesting to me since 2016, 2017, right? I looked at it as self-executing organizations. And currently right now, I'm going to drop this alpha on you guys. The DAOs, the most successful DAOs are going to be the DAOs that provide transparent dashboards for their community, and for the for the greater, and for their community. So for anybody that holds the coin, being able to have access to transparent dashboards. What do I mean by that? Everybody makes comparisons between the stock market and companies that are on the stock market, and crypto projects. And the goal is to bring more legitimacy to our projects, products, and companies than the legacy system. Well, the only way that we do that is by continually building on the ethics of transparency and openness. With DAOs, if we're trying to create our organizations as DAOs, I think we're missing the mark. Whereas when we treat DAOs as access to our dashboards so that at any given time you can see what's going on. So I don't have to go on chain. It's reporting all the things that are happening on chain directly. You only get a quarterly statement of the only way that you know about what's going on with the company is through press releases and through the quarterly and yearly report. Imagine if crypto companies and crypto projects reported out every month,
or every minute,
every
day.
minute.
Yep, that's why we got involved with the community that we're involved with is Hex. Do you know about Hex yet?
Yeah, I've been doing some research on Hex. I've been doing some research. Very, very involved and active and strong community. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. We've well, the same tenants that you're speaking of, we vetted from the beginning. So I've been a YouTube streamer for the community since the beginning, since the launch. Actually, before the launch, when we were in what was called the adoption amplifier period. That's when we turned the button on. But we did, Richard, right after the 17 crash in 2018, he started announcing that he was going to build a new cryptocurrency that was going to have, the ultimate transparency, just like what you're talking about. Not necessarily a DAO, but an immutable code that was going to be written, just like Bitcoin. It was going to be audited a few times, and then it was going to be launched. And after that, of course, because it's immutable, you can't change it. And what he did with it was absolutely amazing. So not only do we have the most transparent on-chain access to it, you can see every trade, you can see everything because it's not on a centralized exchange. Most of our liquidity exists on the DEXs, on a decentralized exchange. So you can see everything. You can see the wallets that hold the liquidity. You can see everything, right? So that was what kind of turned this community on, was like, hey, everything's here. It's transparent. It's open. It's honest. And then he did something. We realized that he did something that is going to change the world of finance. And with this immutable code, he created a cryptocurrency that replaces the certificate of deposit. And how it replaces the certificate of deposit is that it has a fixed inflation rate of 3.69% per year. And you control the keys of the crypto, and you stake it for as long as you want, 1 day all the way up to 5,555 days, which is what we call the Quattro Cinco, a little bit over 15 years. And once you operate the contract, you have control of the keys. None of these other things like what happened with Celsius or any of the other crap that went on out there. This is you controlling your own keys, you making a contract with yourself to say, I'm going to stake this hex for this amount of time. And because of that, you get the inflation of the coin. Now, what it's done is it created a superior inflation model to what the US is doing, to what any other country is doing with their currency at 3.69, very modest, and going to the wallets that are holding the crypto for sometimes over 15 years right now. And that means that the inflation is being delayed. So it's better than the dollar. It's better than gold. It's better than anything out there as far as an inflation model goes. So now with that, so he created that. It's lasted for the last almost 3 years now. No hiccups, no downtime, not even a website malfunction. Everything has been perfect and running flawlessly. Now he's going to fork Ethereum and bring Ethereum basically 2.0 and some to the crypto ecosystem. And he's going to bring another decentralized exchange with yield generation tools, with farming and all these kind and farming pools. So we're really excited about the new launch of these other products and what Hex has already done. I mean, it's retired a lot of people. It's and even in a bear market, we're still doing really, really well. So that's what I don't know if you've been given that much information yet, or you've done your research. What have you learned?
About the certificate of deposit, yes. About the staking, yes. So much of what you've said is some of the things that I've researched and was somewhat aware about. Yeah.
Nice. Good. So what do you think about that? What's your go ahead, feel free to be critical. Don't hold back. What have you seen? What are you understanding? What do you have questions about? Or Give us your take on it, and don't be afraid. I'll protect you from my chat room. They won't come after you.
Well,
they can't hurt you from here.
For me, it's always a one. What does your community think? What does your community think, and how does your community feel about it? Right. That's for paramount, because we're building superior products to things that already exist. We're building something much more superior. So for Hex, okay, the certificate of deposit, okay, all right, that's very interesting. That's very interesting to me. Being able to stake those things, and now you're incentivizing people being part of the community for a long period of time, right? So being able to really understand that, and the fact that there are people who've been able to retire, who've been able to experience life-changing, life-changing money, man, like generational, right? That's extremely powerful, and that's going to attract people, right? Because if people's lives weren't changing as a result of it, you wouldn't have to worry about anybody knocking down your door, right? You wouldn't have to worry about anybody trying to be involved. So I think that's very, very powerful. So I did some more research, but I like hearing more from the actual community. So I'm glad that you guys have me on to really be able to appreciate and understand what it's done for you particularly, right? Because I learned that it's what moves people is how they feel, not necessarily the facts, right?
Yeah, well, and it's also about, there's that saying where people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you need to like get at the heart of it. And I think the community is the heart of a crypto, because, Bitcoin proved a concept that you can make a peer-to-peer transaction securely over the internet without a double spend. Ethereum proved the other concept was, hey, we could program this shit to do stuff now.
Yeah.
So Hex took those two concepts and made them viable. Hex is a more secure than Bitcoin peer-to-peer transaction. And it also programs itself to be better inflation and a better savings model than your typical bank CD. So now we have a saving tool that the normal man, myself, the working guy, the working stiff that works his life away, can put his money somewhere or can actually do something and make more. And this is actually basically a stake is like buying a Bitcoin miner. You are receiving the inflation of the coin by staking your Hex. So because of what Hex has done, because of the models that it's proven, it is far superior to everything out there in crypto. And it has actually become the first true DeFi product that human beings can use outside of the mess that is crypto right now, because it is a mess. Everything has proven that it has failed. So here's the thing. There has not been communities out there that have failed. The XRP community, the Luna community, the Bitcoin community, they've all done really, really well to get behind their cryptos and go out there and advocate for it and market for it, because that's what it was supposed to do. Crypto was supposed to launch, be immutable, and then the community was supposed to develop on top of it and market for it.
Yes.
And those communities, the communities didn't fail. The cryptos failed the communities. The beautiful thing about the Hex and the Hex community is that Hex has never failed us. So we are the strongest crypto community in existence. You cannot FUD or change the mind of a Hexagon. We understand the space. We understand DeFi better than any other community out there. And that's because our crypto continues to back us up. And the others have failed. They failed their communities. So that's why we're such a strong community. And that's why we can speak the way we do, because I don't have to be a genius, which I'm not known as being a genius in the community, but I can say whatever I want. And as long as I know what the tenets of crypto and what Hex has done are, then I can get up here, and I've never had to take any of my tweets down. I've never had to take any of my YouTube videos down, because Hex is still standing behind me and still operating and functioning as I have said it is going to. So it's amazing what's going on here, because I think that you've accidentally kind of stumbled across the first true crypto community.
And that's that's the reason why I'm known as the crypto politician, is because now the beauty of crypto is that you have ethics, protocol, and code. Ethics, protocol, and code. What are the ethics that we want to, what are the ethics and standards that we want to have for this community so that it does not get alienated, it does not get mucked up, right? How do we advocate for ourselves? How do we make sure that the hex community that the hex community is protected, that the things that are interested, like you said about the hex community being the most educated as far as in the DeFi space, right? Understanding the DeFi space. Well, DeFi is what got a lot of people into crypto in the first place, whether they realized that it was DeFi or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
being able to understand that space and what does that look like 5 years? What does that look like in 10 years? And the best way to predict the future is to create it. So how do we create that future that we want to see? Okay, it seems like the hex community is doing something right. Okay, well let's get that down. Let's get that down so that we can now create, like I said, our ethics, our protocols that are backed up by code.
Mm-hmm. Now I gotta tell you that, you know, we haven't been received 100% well because of, you know, in the beginning. So here's what happened to the hex community. In the beginning, they came at us. They came at us hard. I mean, they called us scammers. They called us everything under the sun. And mostly they were attacking Richard, the founder of the Hex crypto. And because of that, the Hexicans became very, very guarded, very, very much on the offense because we were backed up on our heels all the time. We were having to prove ourselves all the time. And of course, Hex just did what Hex did. And we came out the better for it, of course. And all the people that tried to create FUD and tried to get people out of it and tried to call it a scam and all these other things, they're the ones that lost. We won. But in that, it has created, and I like to call it kind of like what you get when you create a Marine. Now, you send a Marine to boot camp and you teach them how to be this human being. They strip you down of everything, brainwash you completely, and turn you into a Marine. You're a Marine forever. You never get rid of that. It's something that they put inside you that never goes away because they've stripped a lot of stuff out of you. That's kind of what I've seen happen here. But then when you send a Marine to war, when you create a dog of war, you've turned it into another type of beast. And that's what I think the Hex community has here, is that we've been to war and they know viciously how to go out and win. And because of that, we aren't well received all over the place because Hexicans are pretty harsh when they come down on people because they've had enough. They've had enough of the war that they've had to fight, and they don't want to have to go back and hash out those fights anymore. So they come viciously at people, and sometimes it's not well received. So our community has been, you know, kind of stamped with, stay away from those guys, you know. But it is because of the situations that we were developed under, you know. But nonetheless, they are still the smartest community out there. They're still the most passionate community out there for their founder and the crypto itself. And nothing can take that away from those guys because Hex will always be there to back them up.
Well, I've gotten pretty good reception from the Hex community. You know what I mean? So it's it's like a family, right? Your dad may have gone out and knocked out a few people, and did whatever, but you don't know necessarily the circumstances that led to it, right? All you know is that I got dad, and I love the hell out of dad. Yeah, dad may do this, dad might knock you out, but why did dad knock you out, right? Why was dad doing this? Dad's not a violent person. You know what I mean? So, you know, I can appreciate that because when you've been at war, when you've had people come at you, when you've had people come for your character, when you've had people come for your expertise, when you had people come at you like that and not engage with you fairly in dialogue, you feel a certain kind of way, and you're not you're not too keen on hearing anybody. It's like anybody can get it. Anybody can get it, and it's on site. If you want smoke, I'm bringing fire. And that's just going to be the understanding of it. So I definitely understand that, and I can appreciate that. I think the most important part is like having individuals like yourself that are able to introduce me to the community and get me introduced within the community, right? To be able to appreciate that, right? That's like talking about crypto for me. Like, sometimes I just have to leave the room because it's like, y'all don't, I'm telling you about crypto. It's been life changing. It's been life changing for me. And you're calling this stuff a scam. And I gotta, and I have a tax bill that I'm trying to figure out what the hell I got to do with on something that you're calling a damn scam.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I've noticed that too, that because I went to DC and met with some of the PACs out there, the crypto PACs. And I have been talking behind the scenes with politicians and organizers and people that are working on this new Bozeman bill issue that's going out. So I've been in the background working with a lot, and I understand the lack of education that our officials have when it comes to crypto. Like ridiculous lack of information. So I've been in the behind the scenes trying to educate some of those people, trying to help get bills passed, trying to get things in front of legislators. And it's going to still take some time. They still don't understand at the highest levels of what this is and what it can do.
We're approaching it. We're approaching it from the wrong way. And I'm not going to say the wrong way. I'm going to say is if you got national money, then you go after national issues. But if you got national money, you have an opportunity of going to when you start local, and you get the city council person, your your county commissioner, your mayor, those legislators, the people in the executive and legislative branch on the local level, and then on the state level. Right, there's a whole lot that you can do. What do I mean by that? How much does it cost to buy how much does it cost to buy a congressman, and how much does it cost to buy a senator? Versus how much does it cost to buy one of my state legislators? How much does it cost to buy one of my executive officials? You know what? I just saw a comment that says, Ramon said, and politicians keep their nose out of what they do not understand. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. That's an interesting perspective. If our government wasn't set up this way, then they would be able to keep their nose out of that business. But I'm going to throw the challenge back onto us. The only reason why our politicians are able to run rampant is because we ain't spanked them. So
we got to be able to too.
Well, on a local level, it's a lot easier to spank them than it is on a national level, right?
Definitely.
And so, which is why I'm always an advocate for local level engagement. Because imagine this: imagine 20 Hexagons moving to Shreveport, Louisiana, and utilizing their financial resources to help build influence in a place like that. And you're able to influence and get legislation passed that helps you in that particular area, gives you a safe haven.
Yeah. Act local and think internet, global, or think national. Think big. And then act local is what a lot of people should be doing. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm involved in the California the new Newsom bill and the things that they're trying to get into the Bozeman bill. So I've been working behind the scenes with them on the California stuff, only because we have to have little wins before we can get the big wins. and we
Yes.
have to put little things in place that are going to give us traction. People think, oh, well, let's just go get this passed or that passed. And it's not like that. You've got to go in and what's going to be comfortable for local legislators, congressional legislators, Senate legislators, and then, all the way up until we get a federal bill passed. But you've got to work local and get the smaller things done. And if you domino a state or two, then the rest of the states follow. And then if you can get a couple key states to, initiate some type of favorable legislation to crypto, then you can get a domino effect going, and then you can start to actually influence bigger politics,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, well, we're running out of time here, my friend. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and welcome to the pirate ship. And what do you have out there that you've got going on that you'd like to shill? Is there anything you'd like to ask everybody to tune into, go see on Twitter, see on Telegram, wherever you're at?
Absolutely. Well, I got my hands in a few things right now. Currently, we're working on creating land trusts and land deeds utilizing NFTs.
Nice.
Our project is called Non-Fungible Trust. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for that. I'm involved with an NFT project called Noble Savages. It's a Black anime. Think of like 4 Deadpools from the hood. So
now, is that an ERC20 NFT?
Yes. They're going to be dropping.
Right.
They're going to be dropping before the end of the year. So,
well, you might want to do it before Pulse Chain launches, because at that point, you'll get free copies of those NFTs on Pulse Chain.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just one of the advisors. I'm just one of the advisors on it. It's my partners that they're the real spearheads of it. I'm part of it. I'm like, hey, this is what you guys need to be looking out for, and I'll make sure that they know that that's something that they should be doing.
Right on. And what else you got going on?
DXA, the Zastro NFT launch has happened. DXA is focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And our NFTs are helping to provide diversity and equity inclusion within the crypto space.
Okay.
And the other thing, I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna hold off. You guys are gonna see it on Twitter pretty soon.
Okay. Well, we'll be watching for it. How can people watch you on Twitter?
Doc Monty for us. And I made the bad mistake of changing my Twitter name because it was Doc Monty 2020, and I had my blue check verified, and I ended up changing my name. Yeah. Stupid me.
Oh man.
Doc Monty for us. DOCMONTY 4 US.
Right on. Well, hey, thanks for hanging with us. We appreciate it. And stick around the green room for a minute. I have a couple of questions for you, and we'll chat in a minute. But thanks a lot for coming. Hey, everybody, we'll see you on Wednesday. I'm going to have a Hexagon in the hot seat here. Wants to come on and talk to you guys. So we'll see you guys on Wednesday, and then stay tuned for the FN Hangout on Friday night. Thanks again, Doc.